It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That's Ron Keel from his, I guess it's kind of a solo release, sort of kind of a project type thing. It's called Metal Cowboy, and that one's called Long Gone Bad. And, of course, Ron Keel hosts the Streets of Rock and Roll on the Classic Metal Show Radio Network, the CMS Radio Network. You can hear the latest edition of that show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And Ron, good friend of ours, Chris and, possibly myself, somewhere down the road, will have the opportunity to host the show. Chris has done it a couple of times in the last year. And Chris likes to crash the car on the streets of rock and roll. What do you think, Chris?
I do. I love crashing that car on those streets.
Crashing the streets of rock and roll.
That's right.
So anyway, the new one, Ron Keel, the Metal Cowboy. You got to wonder about Ron, though. He's kind of moved from place to place. He lived in like Columbus, Ohio for a while, and then he moved down to Tennessee, and then he's out in Las Vegas now. And he started that Ron Keel, the Streets of Rock and Roll, which, basically yourself and, you and I both have given him help on how to launch his show.
Sure. And,
he does a show every week, or if he can't do it, he's got a guest host, which you've hosted the show a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to wonder what the incentive is for him to continue recording, new music, especially, since the Keel reunion of a few years ago. And I guess the band Keel as an entity is still doing stuff, with Mark Ferrari and a couple of the original guys and so on and so forth. But now Ron's got this thing he calls the Metal Cowboy. In the 90s. He did a thing where he did this cowboy metal type thing, I guess.
Sure.
And then he did this Iron Horse, which the Classic Metal Show was the first one to debut the Iron Horse music, to the world, more or less. And I had Ron Keel play a Classic Metal Show night out as Iron Horse.
Right.
When Billy had his club at the Revolution. But
sure.
Ron is just a guy who never stops working. He's always doing his show. He's always doing solo gigs, doing Keel gigs, doing this Metal Cowboy thing. That guy just never stops working.
No, he likes to work, and he's definitely a motivated guy. There's no question about that. So Ron actually wants to come on next week.
Well, Ron's always welcome on the show. I mean, he cut that little ID for us. So Wheezy had contacted him back in the summer, and he's just like, these guys have always had my back. And, I was the first guest, I was one of the first guests on, a type of show, and they helped me out and so on and so forth. And that's all true.
Yeah, no, we love Ron. I mean, Ron better than I do, but, I've probably had more interaction with him lately than you have. But Ron's great, man. He of the friends of the show, he's right at the top, probably just right behind Dokken.
Yeah, right.
As we know the best, and that we've had a great relationship with.
Well, I met Ron Keel through Jamie St. James. As you know, Jamie lived in the Cleveland area for a while, back in the early 2000s, and just kind of a weird situation that he just happened to move to northeastern Ohio. And I hung out with him for a couple of years there before he went back to LA, and Ron was living in like Columbus.
Right.
And he made the trip up and did a Classic Metal Show night out, as did Jamie St. James and so on. And so I got to know those guys that way. And, we formed friendships, and, here we are, 10, 12 years later, and Ron is doing his own show, The Streets of Rock and Roll, which we, play here on the Classic Metal Show radio network on Sundays. It comes on at 10 a.m. Eastern. And I tune in every Sunday morning and listen to it myself. So, I enjoy his show. It's only an hour long.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, it's only an hour long. But he does something we don't do. He does a different show than us, but it's a good show nevertheless.
Yeah, it's very entertaining.
Yep. So now he's got the Metal Cowboy. Wheezy actually sent that track over. I guess
we have to get it. Ron has been busy, and I've been busy, and him and I have been like trading emails, but not coordinating anything for the last 2 weeks. So I'll have the album for sure by next week. And Ron indicated to me like 2 months ago that he wanted to come on February 1st. So
sure. Well, always glad to have him.
Yep, every time he's always welcome. And
sure.
He's third mic whenever he wants the mic.
Right. Well, we were talking prior to the break there. I got kind of bombarded with some music requests there, some heavy stuff and some, classic stuff and whatever. And of course we talked to Tom, which that's always a treat.
Right.
And we were talking earlier about the negative review of your book, the only one that you're aware of.
Yeah.
Would you happen to have that handy?
Maybe.
And I didn't even find it all that negative, to be honest with you.
I didn't really either. Let me see.
I just kind of found it somebody who, either read the book or perused it very quickly and thought, okay, this is how it struck me personally. But after reading it, I was just like, okay, well, that's not such a really negative review. That's just sort of a neutral review. That's the only way that I can say that. It's neutral.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't terrible.
I didn't think he was really negative at all, to be honest with you.
No, not really. I mean, I can live with it. It's fine. Here, I'll send you the link.
And where was this review? Where was this reviewed at? What was the outlet?
It's posted at a place called the some kind of book reviews forum.
It's called Book and Reading Discussion Forums for Readers.
Yeah.
Is that anything like the Oprah Winfrey Book Club?
Yeah, they're about on par with each other.
Sure. All right. Well, this individual, what does she call herself? Lady Lioness?
Yeah.
This is a woman who's reviewing this book.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Official review. Little Victories, A Tale of Divorce and Debauchery and Finding Happiness.
Right.
From Lady Lioness. She's kitten's got claws.
Right. And
all right.
She took them out on me.
Right. And again, I didn't find this all that negative either.
Right.
Little Victories, A Tales of Divorce, Debauchery, and Finding Happiness, written by Chris Aiken. That's you.
That's me.
Is a nonfiction autobiography of a self-proclaimed, and she puts this in, parentheses, metalhead.
Yeah.
Is that you? Are you a metalhead?
No, but apparently I'm self-proclaimed.
You're a self-proclaimed metalhead.
Yeah, did I say that in the book? You read the book.
I don't think so.
I don't know where she got that, actually, but...
All right. That overcomes what he describes. These are your words, not hers.
Mm-hmm.
He describes what the worst year of life and how he finds happiness.
All right.
I think you would probably just kind of surmise that just from reading the book title.
Yeah, I guess.
The book is told from the author's point of view. Well, that's usually how it's told in an autobiography.
Yeah, that's usually the way it works.
Okay. And opens up with him telling how his marriage of 23 years came crashing down and what he perceived at the time as unexpected. Mm-hmm. Who wrote this? Michael Butler? He claims he didn't know that his wife was on the verge of divorce. And he claims he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. He's really a fake husband.
Yeah. He's not really a real husband anyway. He's a fake husband. So funny. This could have been written by Michael Butler.
Could have been. Maybe it was.
Right. He went into great depth on his feelings as he contemplated suicide, revenge. Where was the revenge part? I didn't.
That one got me too. I don't think I ever said one word about revenge.
Yeah, I don't. When I heard or read that word, I was just like, I don't recall the revenge part.
I don't think I ever did. I think in the suicide chapter thing, I think I sort of said that I was willing to do it to kind of leave a mark.
Oh, okay.
That's the closest I could think of to revenge, was that when I was talking about taking myself out, that maybe she perceived that as revenge. I don't know.
Yeah, this'll teach that bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Bargaining.
Don't know what she means there either.
Well, I kind of know where that came from. I recall that part where it was just like, okay, what do I do to get her back?
Okay.
All right. And pretending that everything was all right.
All right, fair.
Chris does begin his road to recovery in an unlikely source that teaches him in a way to look at life and examine himself to see his mistakes and faults. That is most likely the reason he ended up full of hatred and rage, overweight, alienated from his family for 12 years, and now his wife leaving him.
Yeah.
The way she wrote that, it's like you gained a lot of weight in the last year.
I did.
I mean, in the way that she wrote that, it sounded like because of the breakup or that you like put on a lot of weight, gained a lot of weight, just because of that.
She left, so I ate cake nonstop.
That's kind of the way it reads. All right. He eventually began to open up to friends. When was the eventual part?
I think like immediately.
That's kind of where I was at. He eventually,
later.
Yeah, exactly. As they helped him get past his pain and show that he was in fact loved, whether he thought he deserved it or not. Upon opening up himself, he was also encouraged by friends and his own guilt to repair the rift between himself and his parents and brother just before it was almost too late. I like the book. I like how the book began. It really grabbed my attention, and his description of how he felt and what he was going through was really easy to relate to at times.
Well, that sounds good.
Okay, that sounds like, okay, I get this guy.
Yeah.
The chapters on repairing his relationship with his family and the sickness of his father was extremely well written, to the point I almost felt I was there.
Well, that sounds good too.
Well, I had made that comment on the show a few times. It was like going through the day-to-day life,
Right.
So I understand where she's coming from there. The author warns up front that this book was written over a long period of time, 12 months.
Yep.
And how his attitude changes over the course. I found this very difficult to follow at times. Okay, especially when he was describing his feelings on divorce. All right. He would move forward a few months and then make back statements that made me think he was describing the first 2 weeks after he left his wife again. Well, they were just re-emerging feelings. That's all it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I think he spent way too much time talking about the divorce and then revisiting it. Well, I mean, that was a pretty big, prevalent thing in your life. So, yeah, you're going to revisit every day.
What's the title? A Tale of Divorce.
Yeah. I would have liked to read more about the debauchery and finding happiness.
Okay.
So she wanted to hear about your destructive, tendencies.
Yeah. And to be fair on that, I did pull some of that stuff out of the book.
Okay.
There was like 4 or 5 chapters that I wrote that did not make the book, only because I felt like they were sort of repeating things.
Sure. So So will you be re-releasing this book in like 5 years with bonus chapters?
5 years? As soon as my 90 days are up and I can release it to iTunes, iTunes will be a bonus chaptered book.
Bonus chapters.
Of course there'll be bonus chapters.
Yeah, these were the chapters we were working on, but we pulled them out.
Yeah.
So this is what hit the cutting room floor.
This is the stuff I didn't think was good enough, but now it is.
Yeah. Just to sell a few more books.
That's right. I gotta squeeze everybody for every dollar.
Right. You're going to have to rebuy the book if you want to hear the bonus chapters.
But don't think of it that way. Think of it as an investment.
Shh. But don't tell anybody.
No one needs to know.
Right. I gave this book a rating of 2 out of 4 stars.
Bitch!
Now, who has a rating of 4 stars?
Yeah, I found the 1 out of 4 or whatever from 0 to 4 to be an interesting rating system.
Well, why wouldn't you either have 5 or 10? It usually goes on a 5 scale.
Yeah.
5, 10,
Yeah,
but 4?
5, 10, or 100 is usually it.
Yeah, but 4?
I didn't get the 4.
I give this book a 2 out of 4, so that's 50%.
Yeah.
Overall, I enjoy reading it, but I found the flow difficult at times, and the majority of the book to be filled with anger, self-loathing, and depression. A negative feel to it, per se. Since when is divorce a happy occasion?
Yeah, I should have written the happier side of the
Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime gal.
That's that. I mean, that whole sentence is fucking ridiculous.
I know. Divorce is very negative. It's a hateful, hurtful, painful thing for most people.
Yeah, and I tried purposely not to write from a look at me. I'm a fucking, I'm fucking cast iron man.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to write that book.
Yeah, look, the bitch is gone. I'm happy as hell. I'm dancing in the streets.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure some people will read it and relate to it better than I did.
Yeah, I'm sure too.
As they may find they had similar experiences and can use what they learned from Mr. Akins. Mr. Akins.
Yeah, with an S.
Is that you, Mr. Akins?
I guess so.
To be better, to better their own life.
There it is.
Okay. I have a hard time, and I'm not trying to be racist when I read that, but I'm thinking this person is maybe not Caucasian.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. It's just the sentence structure. That's the only thing I'm basing that on, and call me racist if you want. I see.
I actually had not thought of that.
I just read that. All right. You wrote a rebuttal, I guess.
Yeah, I did a little bit.
Official review. You wrote, "Hi there." Trying to be all happy and shit. Look,
I'm all happy.
I'm a past divorced guy here. I'm all happy and shit. Hi there.
Yeah.
It's Chris Aiken here.
Yep.
The author of Little Victories. Thank you for your review. I found it to be very fair and honest. And to be sure, I understand your criticisms of the book as a whole.
Yeah.
And that was an HOLE.
No.
Referring to the gender of the reviewer.
Probably could have been, though.
To clarify one brief point that you made about wanting to read more about the debauchery and the finding happiness aspect of it, I just wanted to state something that I may not have explained well enough in the book.
Yeah.
You don't get a do-over, Chris. You don't get a mulligan here.
Not asking for one.
It's in print now. It's too late, pal.
Not asking for one.
I wrote for 1 year, not even 13 months or 12 months and a day. I set a stop point at June 21st, 2013. 1 year to the day from the day of my breakup.
Yeah.
There was more happiness to come as I'm in a much better place now than I was. Then when I stopped writing. That said, fixing of things with my family, friends, etc., all led me to a great place mentally.
Right.
those are parts that didn't make the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because after that, from June of last year till now, that was after I was done writing.
I'm smelling bonus chapters here.
Oh, I know.
Bonus chapters.
I could write a whole nother book.
Right.
Big victories.
To the debauchery part, I kind of felt things were competitive to repetitive. No, competitive. I guess
just kind of felt things were competitive. What the fuck? I don't even know how to write.
Is that repetitive?
I think it should be repetitive.
Okay, I just kind of felt things were repetitive to rehash more and more events. I wrote at length in the book about my birthday party where I went off the raft.
Rails.
Oh, okay. I'm reading this wrong. Went off the rails with booze and being a complete ass.
Yeah, you can relate to that one, right? You were there.
I was there. I wrote about Atlantic City randomly having sex with a total stranger.
Yeah.
That would fall in the debauchery section, I believe.
I think that's what that was meant to be.
Mm-hmm. There were more of these situations that I wrote about and left out of the book because I felt they were different stories, but of the same repeated behavior. I appreciate your point, though. Overall, I'm glad you enjoyed the book. Now, how did you gather that she actually enjoyed the book?
Because she said it. I enjoyed reading it.
Right. Regardless of the score, this thing is very personal to me, and it's already a success because it's an accomplishment I never assumed I could make. Thank you again for taking the time to read it and for providing such a comprehensive review. Would that be considered comprehensive?
Yeah, she covered the bases.
Yeah, she just said, you know what? Didn't relate to me. I've never been married. I've never had a relationship longer than a week and a day. Can't relate to 23 years. Can't relate to having my heart fucking ripped out of my chest or holding a gun to my head. But nevertheless, it was okay to read.
Yeah, well, thanks. Whatever. As long as she didn't say 0 out of 4, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, she was 50-50. She was on the fence.
All good to me.
And I think that, that final email probably brought her onto the positive side.
Maybe so.
So if you want to call that a negative review.
Well, that's the most negative.
Yeah. Well, more power to you.
Yeah, I'll take dude, it's been nothing but glowing so far, which has been really, really nice. And I appreciate it and all. But, dude, you want to hear a funny story, though?
Please do. Tell me.
So I wrote this. It's a little one-liner in the book, but I don't think people actually truly believed it. But Ed, my guy that took me to Atlantic City, had no idea about me getting laid.
Yeah, I know. I read that, and he was just as shocked as anybody, to read that. It's like, dude, is that really what you did?
He only found out about it this week in reading a review online of the book.
Sure.
And he was like, what the hell? he emailed me. He's like, what the fuck? Is this true?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
It's like, dude, when did you pull that off?
And then when I explained to him how the scenario went, he was like, holy shit. And he called me up and we had a good fucking laugh about it. He's like, why didn't you just tell me? I was like, dude, it's fucking embarrassing. It felt weird, to be like, oh yeah, I got some pussy last night.
Right.
It's fucking total stranger.
Sure.
It felt kind of weird, so I just didn't feel like telling it.
Right.
So I didn't.
Right, but you told it in the book.
Yeah.
So a bunch of strangers can read it.
I don't care now, but at the time, I was still fucking halfway fucked up thinking she was coming back.
Right.
At the time, honestly, I felt like I was cheating. Well, I was cheating from a breakup.
I can kind of understand that in some regard.
Yeah.
I noticed that over on the Classic Metal Show Facebook, which is facebook.com/thecms, Eric Reed over there, I'm assuming he's a fan.
Yeah, that's Divorce Guy.
Oh, okay. So he wrote over there, new Red Dragon Cartel CD, $15. Chris Aiken's book, $20. Neeley finger banging a chick in his car with her son in the back seat, priceless.
That's good.
Read that today, cracked me up.
That's fucking funny.
How people always make shit out of our show.
Yeah, they do. They always find something.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
All right. Well, anyway, so that's the most negative review you've gotten so far?
That's it.
Doesn't sound all that negative to me.
No. I mean, so far so good, man. And you know, I've seen a couple of drafts of some things that are going to run in some fairly large papers, and there's a lot more good stuff coming. So dude, as you're well aware, I didn't know what to expect. I just knew I wanted to finish it, and I finished it, and that was the accomplishment to me. And the fact that people are digging it right now is very, very cool, and I'm, very excited that people dig it, man. It's fucking good.
Excellent. All right, man. Well, good. So if you haven't picked
Chicago
up...
says it's a kick-ass book.
Who said it?
Kim from Chicago.
Oh, yeah. She got it. Wheezy got it, and I noticed several people, our good friend Tony from Kansas City got it, and Divorce Guy got it.
Yeah, sold 300 plus, man. Quite a few CMS fans have got it, and believe me when I say I am thankful to everybody that has bought it, man. It fucking has been very good.
Yeah,
very cool.
And you were busy stuffing the book in the envelopes and signing them and sending them out and making sure everybody had a personalized copy that ordered it. And
yeah, it was well, you saw, dude. I mean, you saw the big stack of books that I had here, man. I had boxes of books.
You had boxes of books sitting here, ready to be signed and shipped out.
Yeah, and I mean, I showed you quite a few of them because remember, we didn't really, I don't think we talked about this on the show, but I literally pulled book after book after book out of the box and was showing you all the hail and kill, fuck you, pal.
Right.
Hand job.
Right.
All the different funny shit that I had to write in the books for that people had asked for, which is, to me, it was fun. It was fun, but it took a long time to sign all the books.
Right.
But it's just great fun, and this whole thing has been an unbelievably cool experience,
Listen, I can't wait to release my book within the next 2 years.
Dude, it's fun, man. It really is fun.
It should be a good time.